It had been 5 years since my divorce. I was 43 and most nights were spent in silence. The house, once filled with voices and laughter, now echoed only with the sound of my footsteps and the ticking clock on the wall. I had grown used to it, the loneliness that came when the world slowed down at night. But that Tuesday evening was different. I had gone to bed, tired and heavy. The day had drained me, and sleep felt like the only escape I had. The sheets were cool, and the darkness wrapped around me like a blanket. I was just beginning to drift off when I heard a soft knock at my bedroom door. I opened my eyes, surprised. The house was usually quiet this late. "Eli?" I called out gently, my heart picking up pace. "Mom," a voice whispered back. The door creaked open, and Eli stepped inside. He looked unsure, standing there in his checkered pajamas. He wasn't a child anymore. At 22, he had become a quiet, thoughtful young man. But in that moment, he looked almost small, like he was carrying something he couldn't name. "I can't sleep," he said, eyes fixed on the floor. "Come here," I said, patting the space beside me on the bed. He hesitated, then walked over and lay down beside me. The bed shifted under his weight. We lay there, shoulder to shoulder, not speaking. I could feel the warmth from his side, and it made me aware of how long it had been since anyone had shared the quiet with me. After a long pause, Eli whispered, "Sometimes I feel so alone in this house." His voice was soft, almost like a child's again. I didn't know what to say at first, so I reached out and placed a hand gently on his arm. Without a word, he turned and hugged me tightly. I hugged him back, holding him like I used to when he was little. His face pressed against my shoulder, and his breathing slowed. It was comforting, but also unfamiliar. He wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man trying to find peace in a restless world, and I was a mother trying to give comfort where I could. "Thank you, Mom," he said softly before falling asleep beside me. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. There was nothing wrong with what happened. It was a mother comforting her son. But something in the way the moment had unfolded left me deep in thought. I felt the ache of years gone by, the silence of empty evenings, and the sudden sharpness of being needed again. When morning came, Eli was still asleep. The sunlight reached across the room and lit up his face, peaceful in sleep. I slowly got out of bed and walked to the kitchen. I needed to gather my thoughts and do something simple, so I made pancakes. The familiar motions of cooking helped calm me. The batter, the heat, the smell of breakfast, it all gave me something to focus on. A few minutes later, I heard Eli's footsteps. He stood at the kitchen door, eyes still heavy with sleep.
"Morning," he said.
"Morning, Han," I replied with a smile, flipping the last pancake onto a plate. He sat down at the table, watching me more closely than usual. There was something in his eyes, a quiet thoughtfulness. It wasn't bad or uncomfortable, just different. I handed him the plate, and for a second, our eyes met. Then we both looked away. We ate mostly in silence. Eli was quieter than usual, and I could tell he was thinking about something. I didn't press him. I've learned that sometimes silence says more than words. That day passed like any other, but the feeling from the night before stayed with me. Not because anything was wrong, but because it reminded me of how much I missed being close to someone. That kind of closeness that isn't about words or actions, but about feeling safe with another person. The truth is, when you're a mother, you never stop wanting to protect your child. Even when they grow up and start to look like adults, you still see the child they once were. And sometimes, they still need you, just in different ways. Later that evening, Eli went out to see some friends. I stayed home, wrapped in my own thoughts. The house felt quiet again. I sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching the sky fade into twilight. I wondered about the way life changes, about how people grow, and how love, especially the love between a parent and child, changes too. That night, I went to bed early. I felt tired, not just in my body but in my heart. I stared at the ceiling again, letting the darkness hold me. In the quiet, I thought about Eli. I thought about how strong he had become and how even strength needs comfort sometimes. I thought about how I wasn't just a mother anymore. I was also a woman learning how to live on her own again. It's not always easy, but it's part of the journey. I don't know why that Tuesday night stayed with me so clearly. Maybe it was the way Eli reached out. Maybe it was how deeply I felt the silence shift. Or maybe it was just a reminder that we all carry things inside us, things we don't always know how to name. But I do know this. That night reminded me that love, even in its quietest form, still matters. And even if I'm not always sure what the future holds, I'll keep holding on to the moments where love shows up in small, quiet ways. Because sometimes the quiet speaks louder than anything else.